Welcome to Theory After Hours, where we discuss business, interior design, real-life struggles, and the daily balancing act to make it all happen.
I was grateful for the experience that I had and everything because it brought me to where I am. If I didn't hate my job, I wouldn't be here today.
Right.
Exactly. And so you just kind of have this whole outlook where you're like, yeah, you know what? I am who I am today through whatever experience I had.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Did you find that you take that experience and you've maybe helped to mentor other people or kind of helped people that might not be happy in their life?
A lot of people know my story, and I get a lot of people who say, oh, you need to go talk to Bobbi. After I left, there was a few people at the probation office who coined the term, oh, you're going to pull a Bobbi Carpino. And that's a good thing. And so I've had other people who were just not sure if that's what they were going to do, if they were going to take that leap. And even to the point where it's not like they were in a really horrible job, but they just weren't feeling like they were lit up anymore, you know? And so I've had people, and I've seen a couple business people who take that leap and watching them, their businesses grow, especially after we've met. And I'm like, just do it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, get the support from your partner, make sure you guys are ready to go, but just take the leap.
Do it. Like,
right?
it's too short.
It is way too short. Yeah. And then, there's one particular business person where I've just watched her, and every time I'm just like, so excited for her. Yeah.
So how do you find that you market yourself between the photography and the Salmon Valley? Are they two different marketing approaches? Like, how do you...
Yeah. So this time last year, I was ready to pull my hair out because I had two separate businesses, you know, so, I was really building the campground. So I let a little bit of the Bobbi Carpino go in that I wasn't marketing myself. I was serving my current clientele. I had some weddings lined up. So I was just really focusing on that piece, but then building the campground. So when the fall came, and that's normally my busy photography time, I'm getting all these calls, and I was so burnt out. And I just finally sat down actually, and Emily, I called her up and I said, Em, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, I'm ready to quit my photography. She's like, I'm coming over with a bottle of wine tomorrow.
It's good to have a friend like that you can call, right?
So great. So sat down with her and we kind of brainstormed, and she just reminded me all the things I already knew, right? And so what I decided to do was, because I had my one business as a sole proprietor, and then we were incorporated for the campground, I just decided that I'm going to take that and focus just mostly in and pull that into the campground and not do shoots in town anymore. All my photography was going to take place out on our property.
Which makes so much sense. You've got a beautiful backdrop.
Yeah, we do.
And you're there, right? You're not running around town
trying
to do two things and, stretching yourself really thin.
Exactly. And I know every single nook and cranny in that property, the river. I did this incredible session in the fall, where I had these girls and, I've known them for quite some time and they're all dancers. And just what we did out there with them was absolutely incredible, and the families. So I'm really working on building an experience opportunity for our my clients, as a photography, to come out there, and it's not just a photo session, whether it's a picnic or just things where it's just this really fun family memory that will be attached to those images. And then we're also going to be incorporating some camping lifestyle photography packages as well, to really and through some video work and things like that, which I'll have to talk to Camille about, just to provide these really cool documentaries, in a sense, of people's camping experiences.
So did you I believe you had a studio downtown, right?
I did.
Still have that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, and that just literally, we had been down there for 3 years. Yes. Our lease was coming up. We hummed and hawed whether or not we're going to continue on. And then it was like, that was the other hard time. It was like, okay, do I continue on? Do I bring some other people to come in just to share the cost of it? And I let it go. And then 3 days later is when we came across the campground.
Oh, so it was really meant to happen.
It was really just one of those things that I trust. I'm going to make a decision, but everything's going to work out just great, because I didn't have a studio in our current home, and I didn't want to bring a studio back into our home again. I've been there, done that, didn't want to do it again. So my goal is, I'd love to actually build something out on the property, just to have that extra little bit of something where I can teach and do some photography in the studio when the weather is not the greatest.
Yeah, that would actually be a really good idea.
Yeah.
So how do you stay motivated in the two businesses?
Oh, it's hard.
I need to help. helps for me.
Well, yeah, but when you work from home, right? Yeah. So it's one of those things where I have forced myself to actually get up in the morning and get ready. Yeah. So getting ready for me, it might just be a pair of yoga pants and a shirt. So I'm also a volunteer firefighter as well. Wow. So I joined the fire department in September. So I'm always kind of just ready. Like if we do get a call out, I can kind of just quickly jump in the vehicle and head down to the department just to get my stuff on. So I'm just mostly cozy. So that's one thing I do is I get ready. And then if I'm really unmotivated, have you ever heard of the saying, just eat the frog? Right?
No.
So it's like typically Angela Gia Kim she does a lot of business mentoring, Savor the Success. And so I had taken one of her programs years ago, and she talked about that. Whenever you're feeling like you just can't get something done, you just eat the frog. And the frog is that thing that you just don't want to task. Like you just don't want to do it, right? Yeah. And so much like I don't think I would eat a frog. Right. So so you just eat it. And then once you get it done, you're like, oh, okay, that's done. Awesome. And it just pulls you to kind of get other things done. And I find lists are really huge for me. Yeah. If I can just write down some of the key things I need to get done. And I actually am a physical. I love to see visuals. So as much as I'll have my digital calendar, I have a lot of the things that I need to do broken down in a great little calendar that writes down. I just have everything I need to do. So that keeps me motivated. And then there's some days where, I just give myself a break. I'm like, I can't work today. I don't have it in me at all. And fortunately, I have that ability where I'll just have the stove on and sit there and watch home improvement shows.
That's awesome.
And then the next day I'm fired up. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Because I'm even more behind now.
Sometimes you just need that mental break.
You do. Yeah. Yeah. And I just trust that if my body just needs to just take a moment, because come the summer, from pretty much April until October, I'm like 12, 14-hour days, 7 days a week, right?
Oh, yes.
So, I'm very conscious that, I don't need to use up everything right now, because I know that come the camping months and prepping our campground, it's busy and it's a lot of work.
So when's the earliest you guys get campers? Like it's in April, or do you prep the area?
We prep the area. Yeah. So because we're on the river, you just never know what the river's doing. And we want to make sure it's down low enough that nobody can fall in and it cause any problems. So last year we opened for May Long. Nice. So we technically our grand opening for the year is June, beginning of June. And then we have a wait list for people in case we do open for May Long.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now that it's the winter months, do you find it's like you're just you're slow in everything? Yeah,
in a sense, I think January, all of a sudden, it's actually been busy. There's always something going on. When October, November hit, like once snow kind of came, I didn't have as many sessions lined up, and I wasn't really doing anything with the campground. And then it just came to like January, all of a sudden it just blew up again. Like I'm busy with sessions. We've opened up our reservations a little bit now for people who are wanting to book long term. We're getting ready. I'm changing up the website and just starting to kind of make calls on different things that are going to happen. So yeah, it's still busy, but it's not like I get up in the morning and I turn on the coffee machine and get the store open and, go out and clean campsites. It's just a different type of busy.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you've faced in both businesses?
It was around self-worth. That was a really, really big piece. For the longest time, I think too, I definitely see a difference when you're marketing yourself as a photographer or a creative, when you're offering a service, it's really easy for us to undervalue ourselves. And I struggle with that. There's a lot of photographers in the community and you're constantly comparing. And so you see a really great photographer who charges very little. You're like, oh my gosh, how can I get away with charging this? Right. So I struggled with that and I just pushed through it. I'm like, because I'm me. Because I'm going to just keep doing this. I'm offering something that somebody will want, right? Yes. And I just keep doing that. And whereas with the campground, it's different. Yeah. It's like so much easier. Even we raised our prices a little bit this year. We had some new expenses that came up. Government likes to kick in these things every now and again where they're like, hey, we're going to introduce something new and you get to pay for it.
Of course, right?
Right?
Yeah. Right?
So, we just increased our pricing a little bit and it's just, you just have to push through that. So yeah, definitely the self kind of realizing like the value. Yeah.
Don't you find the worst thing going back to your photography is that when you put that comparison on yourself? Because you might offer a price and somebody else offers a cheaper price, but you can't go down that road of comparison.
No.
Because it'll just drive you crazy. And then it keeps you stuck in your own business instead of growing.
Well,
because you're always judging what they're doing. Why are they this way or why are they that way? You just need to focus on yourself.
And that's the energy thing. The minute you start to kind of get that resentment, or you start to feel like, oh my gosh, like they're really creating a bad name for the industry, or they're just not setting the bar where it needs to be. I've had to let that go. And that's part of the reason I really started wanting to do the mentorship piece, and working with other people, whatever business that they're in, is to really encourage them to take a look at what are you doing? What are you offering? And let's talk about your pricing. And what would it look like if all of a sudden you just even charged $100 more or $200 more? And I always get the same thing. And I get it because I've been there. It's like, oh, but nobody will come to me. And I get that. Not nobody, but even for me, when I first did my price increase, I lost 80% of my clientele. But then I gained another, 80% that were awesome. Yeah. They really valued it. They valued me.
Yes.
And once I started to see, like when I first got my first $1,200 sale, I was like jumping around like, oh my gosh, that's awesome, right? And I kept thinking like, here I was busting my butt for $200. And so to take that leap, it's that validation. So then each time you make those increases, you realize I can do this. And then it's also understanding the value that you're adding to and the experience that you're adding for your clients. Because, I know after 10 years experience, I offer something that not everybody else can do.
Well, it's also the way you show up, right? To
100%.
each one of those shoots, because you could be charging an arm and a leg, not saying that you are, and you could show up in a bad attitude and just kind of like, let's get the shoot over. I've got another 5 today. Let's do it. But the way that you carry yourself and present it and the energy you bring to that, that's where people are willing to spend more too.
For sure.
Because they want to be around it.
Yeah. I love to connect with my clients. That's one of the biggest things is, if you see some of my images, a lot of the times I really focus in on eyes. I really, really want people to be feeling, not only are they looking at a beautiful image, but they all of a sudden feel this incredible connection to that image, especially with children. As parents, we watch our children grow up and they start to lose that a little bit, especially when they turn 13.
Is your daughter 13?
She's just about 13, but we could pretty much say that she is. But still, it's just one of those things where I connect. I had shot my last wedding at the winery back in early December, and I went to the client's home to present, and I did a little bit of video, and I did some stills, and I pulled together this beautiful show and went over with them, and the three of us sat there bawling because I managed to capture these moments. And that's where video, for me, I've incorporated that for the last couple of years into my sessions, and I've really loved being able to do that because the stills are great. What happens with video is you actually kind of pull them into the story a bit more.
It's so true.
And to get this mom was she had saved this gold dust from her wedding day that her mother had given to her. And her daughter, she was putting it through her daughter's veil, and to have the story that was attached to that video, it just, for me, like that to me is like, that's where I need to share these stories so that 20, 30, 40 years from now, maybe that person's not with you anymore. And that's all you really have left of them. Yeah.
It's so true because when we work with Camille and Dan from Pop Media, we're mic'd and we are so comfortable with them. And then they send us a video and I'm like, you were taping during then?
Yeah.
But they catch those little looks, like I give Angela a look or I say something. And it's like those tender little
moments,
intimate moments that you don't even realize the way that you're interacting with another human being, the way that you look at them, and then you just hold it really special.
You do.
Even though they might be fun videos and we're doing fun things, it's just, I don't know, there's something about it. Every time I look back on them.
It is.
Make sure you subscribe to Theory After Hours so you don't miss an episode. Love, the Theory Ladies.